Hey everybody, this is Perch. The worst part about coughing all the time. Well, actually, there's nothing good about coughing all the time. It's all terrible. There's no worst part. It's all just awful. Anyway, I do like the space people give me when I have to go somewhere and I start coughing, kind of a little wheezy, out of control. And suddenly, I've got plenty of room around me. It's amazing. Anyway, thank you, COVID. Um, so let's take a look. So we got a viewer mail here. All right, here we go. It's called "The Fans Need to Fix the Comic Book Industry." All right, I'm game. Fans, I I do think there's a lot of. I mean, it's a fun comment. We'll see what the mail writer suggests here, but um, it is it's true. I think first off, a couple things. If you look at the current kind of crop of writers, less artists, but certainly the writers, and you go back in time 15 years, the majority of them were fans. They were working at comic shops, they were posting on message boards. That's what they were. And so that's, 15 years is a lot of time, but also not at the same time. So I think that, it is going to be you one day. If you have this dream to work in comics, it is going to be you. So, just throwing that out there. And also, I think that, we've hit a place in this industry where the fans, the customers, are going to start to tilt and force things in a direction. I think you've already seen that. I mean, the rise of crowdfunding alone has made a big impact. You see a lot of those articles. I hit one from the Business Insider talking about the strength of the comic book industry, and I mean, even in the headline, it talks about YA, graphic novels, manga, crowdfunding as being sources of all that strength. So a lot of those are a result of fans, customers pushing this stuff into the market. So yeah, the fans do need to fix it, are going to fix it, are fixing it in many cases. What fixing means can be a bunch of different things, but certainly the influx of popular titles and money is going to come from that direction. But let's get into some mail. It says, "Hey Perch, hope you're doing good. This isn't really a question, but a message I wish to share with the good people." Okay. Let's see this message. So very often, online comic communities complain about the various problems. These complaints could be the comics are woke, the writers are lazy on original hacks. I've never seen either of those. Weird. The artists don't know how to draw, or the business model is stupid. Sometimes solutions are brought forward, but oftentimes, generally the sentiment is, why do these idiots at Marvel, DC, or other companies have jobs? I think a better question is, why do we put up with the idiots? That is a better question. They have proven time and time again to be ignorant of the fans and the good business practices. Yeah, for various reasons. Yes. I mean, as we've talked about in other videos, um, you know, and I really wish people would absorb that. And it sounds good to say, hey, if you've got a job, you should try to do the best you can in that job, regardless of how you're being treated, paid, etc. But that's not really true. If you or I or any of us worked in a job that paid very low, and we had no kind of long-term commitment, and our bosses would regularly disappear and not get back to us for quite a long time, we would go look for employment elsewhere. And while we did that, our work would probably suffer. Now, I've certainly met, as I'm sure you have, and maybe you're one of these people, who even while treated badly and even while looking for a better situation, still gives 110%. God bless America for those people, but that is hard to do when you're dealing with crap. I think then you get to the management and you say, okay, why doesn't the management show up, respond to mails, answer pitches on time, all this kind of stuff? Why don't they do that? It's like, well, maybe they're terrible at their job. Maybe they are in a similar situation where, at least in DC's case, for example, it bounces around from company to company. Nobody's really sure if you're going to have a job the next day. Creates uncertainty. Uncertainty paralyzes you. All that stuff's true. Now, and this is where people throw me the fence sitter label. I still think at the end of the day, you've got to have a healthy comic industry, which means somehow, some way, people have to find their way past these things. They have to figure out a way to kind of succeed. And if you're in management, I said this before, I have understanding for the contractors, for the freelancers, etc. I certainly understand the position they're in. I have understanding for a lot of the editors, the middle management, the people who are, kind of at the whims of upper levels in the corporation. I have zero for the top level. Zero. Now, certainly, Certainly, they can be put in this position of uncertainty, and that can cause paralysis. Absolutely, all those things are true. But these people are also taking home, 400,000 a year more bonuses, equity, long-term incentives. Sorry, you're paid to deal with hard problems, which means you don't get the same pass. And I do think the management is asleep at the wheel. And yeah, I think a lot of the top level management needs to go. They're not doing the industry any favors. They're not doing any people below them any favors. You've got to start from, putting a good system in place. And, some of the people will improve. That uncertainty will go away and you'll see great performance, and other people will not. And then you got to clean house of the people who don't. But it has to stop there, or stop there. It has to start there. And it has to be pretty major. But anyway, sorry. Back to the myth. I feel like a more beneficial approach for the fans of is for the fans of comics to become the creators of comics. We recognize the problems facing the industry. We crave good stories, and now we just have to make them. Now, to the one guy comment section saying he or she doesn't know how to make comics, is that really what's stopping you? You don't know how to drive a car at some point. You eventually, after a few near-death experiences and probably a few speeding tickets, learned how to drive. Not me. I drove perfect from the very beginning because that's who I am. Definitely some speeding tickets. Then not near death. I did roll a car once, but there was no imminent threat of danger, and the rolling of the car was not my fault. Very, very definitely not my fault. Yeah, it's a story for another time. Anyway, why can't you learn how to write a comic or draw one? As a guy who's currently making one himself, it doesn't take talent, but dedication, skills, and more patience than the potential gas created by Arby's. I love you all. We've been waiting around for some random person to swoop down and start a comic revolution. That person is never coming unless we become that person. It's time for us, true believers, to believe in ourselves. Now let's make some comics. Wow, this one went inspiring. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree. The best possible thing is to make that comic and to also ignore the people who are going to throw rocks at you along the way. One of the things, I try not to get involved too much in the back and forth between, pros and fans who are kind of going at each other. But one thing that I was disappointed by, and I understand the karma aspect of it, but this is where, you can't just do tit for tat to infinity or, life, what can you do? So fans said these comics are garbage. Fans then said, we're going to make our own, but basically the response is, no, they're not. They're great. If you don't like them, don't buy them. Okay. If you don't like them, go make your own comics. So some fans went and made their own comics. And then a handful of pros on a regular basis get their hands on those comics, or more likely somebody, pirates and hands it to them. And then proceeds to say, these comics are trash. Oh, look at this terrible art. Oh, my God, this person can't even draw. I remember Gail Simone did a panel by panel review of a crowdfunded comic, and was just really just relentlessly mocking what Richard Pace was in there, a couple others, and it was just relentlessly mocking this artist. Now, thankfully, I think as the story goes, I recall this. Wait, I need to remember the title. I think it was that Ironsides book, and it was the artist on that book. And the artist saw this critique, or it wasn't critique, it was just making fun of him, and then basically said, all right, I'm just going to improve my skills, do more. I know there's a period of time where the artist did do more. I don't know if that continued, or I don't know what happened there. I'm hoping the artist's still doing more, because that's the right thing to do. One nasty aspect of this entire business is this, it is hypocrisy, but it's that I need to smear other people's success or other people's work. And it exists in and out of the industry. And it's a video for another time, but it really does bother me. I think, there was an opportunity to say, hey, these annoying fans are shitting on mainstream comics, and a lot of them are doing it in an over the top, stupid, douchey way. And yes, fair being fair, if they put out something, then they could get a taste of their own medicine. But is that helpful to anyone? Just let it lie. Just let it go. You're in the mainstream. This person, you dared them to go make their own thing. They did. The end. Call it a day at that point. I think I really wish we'd see more of that. But okay, but you're all right. So this letter writer, it is ours to do, yours to do. Make your own comic. Give it a shot. It is you. It can be you. And there's one piece in here which I 100% agree with, and I think it gets undervalued, especially in any kind of creative job, but absolutely comics. So read again. It doesn't take talent, but dedication, skills, and more patience. That's absolutely true. Now, if you are naturally born gifted, talented, man, what a lucky world you're in. You got a head start. You got a shortcut. That's great for you, and I mean that's just awesome. But I've seen plenty of talented people never get anywhere because they failed at the determination, the dedication, the skills, the patience. Look at Jim Lee. I've said this before, did a Mockingbird story in Solo Avengers, and it looks very amateur. Some of the body proportions are off, the backgrounds are not all fleshed out. It's not great. You could see in it little bits of Jim Lee, like you could see the artist he would become. And very quickly, he became this artist. He became this superstar. If you look at Jim Lee's work, even his early X-Men work, and kind of as it progressed, you'll see a big evolution of his skill. You'll see him improve month after month. But one of the biggest reasons is he had to turn in a comic month after month. He had to do the dedication, the determination, the sweat, the patience to get that stuff out. Now, Jim Lee, I think, is naturally talented. But I think a lot of people, comic writers, comic artists, everybody else, it's volume. Do more. Get in there, do the hard work. Your skills will improve. If you're already good, you'll turn from good to great, to master. That's what is necessary. And I think comics, as well as having this tendency to knock other people who are successful, also has this tendency to undersell those parts in favor of this kind of mythical, born talented. You're a born artist. Oh, you did. It's a lot of work. If you love comics, if you want to make comics, if you're uncertain of how to make comics or don't think you can do it, try. Honestly, it's as simple as that. Try it. Come out with something that's not great. Try again. It's going to be a little bit better. Keep doing it. And ignore the haters along the way. Anyway, thank you very much for the mail. Inspiring. Very, very cool. Thanks for your message. If you have a message you'd like me to read in my terrible voice, send it on in. Like and subscribe, comment, all that kind of stuff. And thanks for listening.